What if the moon disappeared? What if the moon suddenly vanished from the night sky? No warning, no trace, just gone. At first, most people might not notice right away. After all, the moon's influence isn't something we think about daily, but the consequences would be catastrophic, and they would begin almost immediately. The moon's gravitational pull stabilizes Earth's axial tilt. Without it, our planet's tilt could shift wildly over time, causing chaotic climate patterns. Imagine summers turning into icy wastelands and winters becoming blisteringly hot. Crops would fail, ecosystems would struggle to adapt, and global food supplies would collapse. The moon's gravitational force is what creates our ocean tides. If the moon disappeared, tides would shrink drastically, reducing coastal erosion. But far worse than that, the absence of stable tides would lead to stagnation in Earth's oceans. Ocean currents distribute heat across the planet. Without that cycle, tropical regions would become unbearably hot, while polar regions would plunge into extreme cold. Marine life that relies on the movement of nutrients through the tides would die off in massive numbers, triggering food chain collapses worldwide. Without proper ocean movement, marine ecosystems would lose their nutrient flow. Coastal fisheries that billions rely on for food would face a devastating collapse. Phytoplankton, the foundation of marine ecosystems, would rapidly decrease, which would drastically reduce oxygen levels since these microscopic plants produce nearly half the oxygen we breathe. What if the moon's light disappeared? Without the moon's glow, the night sky would become a blanket of overwhelming darkness. No longer reflecting sunlight, the moon's absence would make nighttime nearly pitch black. This would devastate animals like owls, wolves, and bats that rely on moonlight for hunting. Migratory species that use lunar cues for navigation would become disoriented, with entire populations losing their way. Additionally, nighttime safety for humans would be severely impacted. The moon's illumination makes outdoor activities at night safer, and without it, crime rates could potentially rise as darkness engulfs urban areas. The moon also acts as a stabilizer for Earth's rotation. Without its gravitational influence, the Earth's tilt would fluctuate dramatically, sometimes reaching extreme angles. Imagine the planet tilting as far as 45 degrees, plunging the poles into constant sunlight while scorching the equator in endless daylight. Some regions would face never-ending winters, while others would endure unbearable heat. These chaotic swings would drastically alter weather patterns, creating massive droughts, violent storms, and unrelenting hurricanes. Regions that once produced stable harvests could become desolate wastelands within years. The unpredictability would make modern agriculture nearly impossible, driving global food shortages and mass displacement. The moon acts as Earth's first line of defense against meteoroids. It absorbs countless impacts that could otherwise strike our planet. Without the moon's protective barrier, Earth's risk of being bombarded by space debris would dramatically increase. An asteroid capable of causing regional or even global devastation would have a much higher chance of striking Earth directly. Historical evidence shows that the moon has absorbed numerous large impacts over the ages, craters that could have otherwise caused catastrophic damage to Earth. Without this celestial shield, Earth's surface would face far more frequent and destructive meteor strikes. Life on Earth evolved alongside the moon's influence. Certain species, particularly those that follow lunar cycles to breed, hunt, or migrate, would face immediate crisis. Corals, for example, synchronize their reproductive cycles to the phases of the moon. Many insects, birds, and aquatic life depend on lunar patterns for survival. Mass extinctions could follow as entire ecosystems fail to adapt quickly enough. Human biology may also feel the effects. Studies have suggested that the moon's gravitational pull subtly affects sleep cycles and mental health. Its absence could disrupt circadian rhythms, potentially increasing cases of insomnia, anxiety, and depressive disorders. For millennia, the moon has shaped human culture. Ancient calendars, religious traditions, and mythologies are deeply intertwined with the moon's cycles. Agriculture was once planned by the lunar calendar, and entire civilizations built rituals around lunar phases. The disappearance of the moon could unsettle societies around the world, particularly those that still rely on lunar timing for ceremonies, festivals, or spiritual practices. Even language would be affected. The term month itself derives from the moon's 29.5-day cycle. The loss of the moon would sever a deep historical connection that has existed for thousands of years. The moon has also served as humanity's stepping stone into space. If the moon vanished, our plans for colonization and further space exploration would become much more difficult. The moon's gravitational pull influences low Earth orbit satellites, making adjustments predictable. Without the moon's stabilizing force, satellites would become harder to manage. Communications, GPS, and scientific observations could falter. Additionally, without the moon as a refueling station for deep space missions, humanity's plans to expand across the solar system would face major setbacks. The absence of the moon would remove a vital resource for staging Mars missions and deeper planetary exploration. The moon has always been a source of comfort and wonder. Poets, artists, and dreamers have drawn inspiration from its glow for centuries. Its disappearance could profoundly affect the human psyche. Without the familiar presence of the moon in the sky, feelings of isolation, anxiety, and existential dread could rise, impacting mental health on a global scale. Additionally, since the moon's cycles subtly influence social behavior, patterns of social unrest could increase. Studies have linked full moons to heightened aggression, emergency room visits, and unusual social behavior. Without the moon's calming influence, these effects could worsen in unpredictable ways. In the end, Earth and the moon are two halves of a delicate cosmic balance. If the moon vanished, the chain reaction of environmental, social, and psychological effects could permanently reshape life on Earth. Could humanity survive without the moon? Perhaps. But Earth would become a much darker, colder, and more unpredictable place. A world struggling to find stability in the absence of its lunar guardian.